What's up, guys? Back with another video. Today I have Log and Zap 8 strategy guide for you. I've got like 4 replays in this one, I think, because I had quite a few people give me Log/Zap Bait replays, which was good. A few of the other ones I couldn't get too many replays. It was hard to find them, but in this case I got plenty. So these are some of the zappable and loggable cards, and this is what you're going to mainly want to build your deck out of. You still are going to want probably 2 spells. Fireball and... I personally like Fireball and Zap with Log Bait. Poison's pretty good with Log Bait Zap Bait deck too. But Fireball and Zap will allow you to keep the pressure up. So also this kind of deck, it's utilizing the fact that your opponent will only have one good spell to counter zappable and loggable troops for the most part. Sometimes people will have a zap and a log, and that will hurt, but you generally can bait both of them out because you have so many cards that need to be zapped or logged. And there's also troops, obviously, like the Electro Whiz, and then splash troops might kind of hurt some of these troops, but that's why you have some troops with more life, like Just John has a bowler and Elite Barb, so you'll need some stuff that can take hits that will tank for the little troops, because the little troops can't they can't do everything by themselves, so you'll need something like a knight or a bowler to tank for them, and to tank for the Goblin Barrel. So the Goblin Barrel in this deck is really important. It's probably going to get most of the damage for you, depending on what your win condition is. And 2 of my favorite win conditions, 2 things to combo with a Log Zap Bait deck, is Miner and Hog, because you can be really fast-paced and aggressive. You can, they're cheap cards, and you can really keep the pressure up on your opponent. And so, I personally like that a lot more than having to sit back and wait for your opponent to do stuff and then try to do a monster push. I like to keep the pressure up the whole game. So obviously with these weaker troops, you're not going to want to bunch up your troops, because they can either get poisoned or logged, or maybe by a bowler bowled away, or a Valkyrie could wipe them out. So try not to bunch these troops up too much, because they're weaker, and that'll end up hurting you in the end. So Just John gets a 3 crown on the first replay here. Okay, the next one is by Jamalski. He's got a level 10 Fireball, I believe. I don't think he's anywhere close to getting it max, but a level 10 Fireball is very impressive. So like I was saying earlier, Goblin Barrel is generally going to be where most of your damage is coming from. So, you got to try to protect it and have a tank for it. Like, see, he's going to use his Prince as his tank, and then the Goblin Barrel will be able to do a significant amount of damage on the tower because it was being tanked for. That guy had Log in his hand, and I don't know why he didn't use that. That was a really bad misplay. If he would have used it, he would have stopped probably all the damage from getting to the tower. The Prince, by the way, is also a zappable card. The Sparky, anything with a charge is zappable too. And one thing that maybe some of you don't know, the zapping the bandit is worthless. Don't zap it or log it, because once it's in its charge, it doesn't reset it. And so that's one good thing that can go in one of these decks, because it sometimes tricks your opponents, and it's also a pretty dangerous card if you want to put that in these decks. So the Valkyrie is also a good unit to protect your low-lifed troops, such as the Goblin Gang. So if you have a Goblin Gang attacking a giant and then a baby dragon's coming, use your Valkyrie to take the shots from the baby dragon so your Goblin Gang can do damage. So he's about to use his Prince, and then his Goblin Gang isn't in cycle, so he won't be using that anytime soon. Just gonna focus on defense. In this deck, Jamulski doesn't have a whole lot of the weaker troops like Stab Goblins or Goblin Gang or Skeleton Army. He's got the Prince, the Spear Goblins, and the Goblin Barrel, but he's still got a good amount of zappable and loggable cards in here. So the Prince, I've never liked the Prince a whole lot, but I played 6 draft challenges because I played on my brother's and my dad's accounts as well as mine. And so out of those 6, I got 12 wins, and I picked the Prince in a lot of the drafts because it was one of my choices. It seemed like it was a pretty good card in the drafts. And I don't think I picked the heal spell once. I wasn't a fan of the heal spell at all. I don't think it's gonna be too great of a card in the game. So this next replay is from Tiny Tom. When I went to their clan, I was talking to him, and he actually didn't know that this was a zappable or zap/loggable deck. He just plays it, I guess, and utilizes these cards. And so, I mean, it's a good deck. He's got good levels on him too. So here, so you can see he's got the Stab Goblins, the Minion Horde, the Goblin Barrel, the Goblin Gang, and I think that's all he's got that's loggable, but that's half of his deck, I think. At least half. And that makes it really tough on an opponent when they only have certain cards that can deal with your cards. The Princess is going to be a good card to deal with your deck if you're using this, but it'll be okay. So he hasn't played his Golem yet, which is fine. I think he's just about to play it for the first time in the back, and when I use Golem, I almost always wait until double elixir to use it, if y'all want to do that. And he's got a level 6 Golem. That's a very high level Golem. If y'all have a level 6, y'all should definitely use it, I think. And so here's a good Executioner that will take out this Minion Horde. All of them except for 2, and will also do some good damage to the Giant. So he's losing right now, but he can come back, and right here you see a big clump of zappable and loggable troops. Probably shouldn't do that because the Princess was able to easily splash them all away. Now he's going to start up one more Golem. I think this is the last Golem he's going to get, and I think this is the push that he'll probably push through his opponent with. And if I'm seeing this correctly, I think he has a maxed out Minion Horde, which is pretty impressive. And you see this huge push that's very difficult for his opponent to stop that comes in. And wow, it looks like his opponent stopped that very well. So he's gonna get one more Golem down here. And he's got plenty of defensive cards to use on this Giant. And you see his opponent's about to send in a Goblin Barrel, but the Giant doesn't tank for him enough, and his Golem's able to get to the tower and do a lot of damage. That death damage won the game for him, it seemed like. Okay, this next guy is Romans 12-2. He's a very good Zap Bait player. He's using a mirror and the furnace, which is pretty cool. And he's also using this Skarmy, which I wouldn't suggest using Skarmy because I think I've said it in a few of my videos. If you've actually watched them for whatever reason, you know that I don't like Skarmy at all. There's too many counters and it's way too fragile. so I don't use it ever. And see there, Romans 12:2 got really kind of unlucky. His opponent just happened to zap while he was placing a mirrored Skarmy, so that sets him down at the start of the game. And as you can see, his opponent, Aga Joe, he has a good amount of splash units, which will kind of hurt him. It's going to be harder to win this, but I mean, every deck has matches that will be hard to win. So that's a good Goblin Barrel. There's nothing to tank for it. Sometimes you got to do that to bait out some of your opponent's elixir so they can't put it all into a push. That was pretty unlucky that the giant skeleton just got... That was barely close enough to hit the tower. And that, of course, didn't make Romans 12:2 very happy. That was kind of lucky, but he gets a good Skarmy off because of his opponent not having the correct cards in his hand. So now it's about even right now. Another thing, these weaker decks are going to be tough to stop Elite Barbs because they'll usually have a Zapper log ready with their Elite Barbs, and so you got to be ready for that. And also, Elite Barbs can kind of tear through a Goblin gang, so you got to be careful of that. So if I were to suggest that you use a Zapper log bait deck, I would say use a Miner or a Hog log bait with a Goblin Barrel, and I would use a Knight and an Inferno Tower, because the Inferno Tower will do, it'll pretty much do the killing of the big tanks, like the Golems and the P.E.K.K.A.s, and, you know, those types of cards, the really big cards. And then you've got the Goblin Barrel and comboed with the Hog Rider or the Miner that will do, with a Hog or the Miner that will do most of the offense. And when you take down one of your opponent's towers, send over your Goblin Barrel and place a card right in the middle on their side of the map, because it'll focus on the card you place right in the middle, and your Goblin Barrel will be able to do significant damage to the tower. Well, that'll be the video, guys. Hope you liked it. Zap and log bait decks are really good. I'm using one in challenges right now, and I've always been a fan of them, so feel free to try them out and comment down below if you need any help.